At 92, Willie Nelson names the person he doesn't want to attend his funeral. Willie Nelson was born Willie Hugh Nelson on April 29, 1933, in Abbott, Texas, to a small-town family during the struggle of the Great Depression. His childhood had its measures of struggle, yet was simultaneously filled with a timeless love for music. His parents, Ira and Marl Nelson, nurtured his interest in music and got him his first guitar at an early age. By the time he got to elementary school, he had already begun playing locally, and it quickly became apparent that he had a natural flair for melody, storytelling, and lyricism, which soon would define his career. He grew up in rural Texas, where this deeply influenced his musical character, creating an authenticity, humility, and aptitude for heartfelt narrative that became the hallmark of his songs. The beginning of Nelson's professional career consisted of playing in local bars and honky-tonks, while penning songs to be performed by others. His early songwriting promise was evident in compositions like Family Bible, which he sold for a modest sum, but which hinted at his future influence on country music. Over time, his distinctive voice, both literally and stylistically, set him apart. Smooth and plaintive, with phrasing that often floated just behind the beat. His vocal delivery created a sound that was immediately recognizable and deeply influential. By the 1960s, Nelson had relocated to Nashville, the hub of the country music business. Though he had first found little success as a performer, he soon developed a reputation as a talented songwriter. He wrote hits for Patsy Cline, Farron Young, and Roy Orbison, among others, which earned him admiration on all fronts. His own recording career started to take off in the late 1960s and into the 1970s, especially with the emergence of the outlaw country movement, which renounced the slick, formulaic productions that were dominant at Nashville. Albums like Red-Headed Stranger in 1975 and Stardust in 1978 showcased Nelson's vocal abilities and his masterfulness as a storyteller and emotional interpreter. Especially, the album Red-Headed Stranger became a certain cultural milestone. Its sparse instrumentation and cohesive narrative formed a concept album that resonated deeply with listeners. Nelson's willingness to defy convention, record on his own terms, and explore themes of love, loss, heartache, and redemption firmly established him as a pioneer of modern country music. Beyond his musical accomplishments, Willie Nelson has long been an important cultural figure through his activism and philanthropy. A longtime advocate for farmers, he, along with fellow musicians Neil Young and John Mellencamp, among others, founded Farm Aid in 1985, an organization that works to support family farms in crisis. Further environmental activism, veteran support, and his cannabis legalization advocacy indicate a more pervasive preoccupation with personal freedom, social justice, and community well-being. His iconic imagery, a bandana, his trusty guitar trigger, and a warm, humble sense of humor have endeared him to people far beyond the world of music. Even well past the age when most artists slow down, Willie Nelson has continued forward with the same restless energy and creative curiosity that defined his youth. After turning 80, rather than easing into retirement, he seemed to find a second wind. In 2014, as he celebrated his 81st birthday, he released Band of Brothers, an album which marked the reascendance of his living legend status to the top of the country charts. It was a project showcasing an artist who still had stories to tell, melodies to chase, and emotions to invest in every lyric, proving time had only deepened his insight. Nelson's creative reach has never been limited to music alone. Over the years, he has also built a diverse and sometimes surprising career in film and television. His natural charisma translated with ease onto the screen, allowing him to move between heartfelt dramas, quirky comedies, and enduring favorites. Appearances in films like The Electric Horseman put his relaxed screen presence into view, while roles in Starlight and the fan favorite The Dukes of Hazzard showed his more playful spirit and versatility. Through music, activism, and acting, Willie Nelson has remained a singular figure whose influence spans generations. Later came fun, unexpected cameos in projects such as Blonde Ambition and the quirky comedy Zoolander 2, each one adding yet another layer to his long-running love affair with pop culture. As though music and acting were not already enough to fill several lifetimes, Willie Nelson also carved out a vibrant career as an author. Through his writing, he gave the audience an almost personal look into the heart, humor, and philosophy of the man behind the legend. He has written over half a dozen books, each carrying his unmistakable voice, with wisdom, wit, and wanderlust. Titles, like The Facts of Life and Other Dirty Jokes, meld his signature mischief with lessons learned from a life well lived. Pretty Paper is a moving, down-to-earth novella based on one of his favorite Christmas songs. His memoir is a long story. My Life is perhaps his most cherished book, pulling together remarkable highs and humbling lows, wild adventures, and abiding friendships that have shaped him into one of America's most beloved cultural icons. Willie Nelson has recorded hundreds of albums, written countless songs, won multiple Grammy Awards, and earned a place in the Country Music Hall of Fame throughout his career of over 7 decades. He is appreciated not only for his musical genius, but also for his resilience, authenticity, and enduring relevance. Even in his 90s, he goes on to tour, perform, and inspire new generations of musicians and fans. His influence cuts across genres, from merely country to rock, folk, and Americana, leaving an indelible mark on the global musical landscape. Willie Nelson's personal life has been as colorful and eventful as his career. Willie's relationships and marriages have played an important role in shaping the man behind the music. First married to Martha Matthews in 1952, when he was still a teenager trying to find both personal and professional footing, the couple spent nearly a decade together, navigating early adulthood, family responsibilities, and the growing pressures of Nelson's musical ambitions. Their marriage ended in 1962, and though the details remained private, this early union helped shape his understanding of love and commitment, and the challenge of balancing relationships with a demanding career. Shortly after that divorce, Nelson married the singer Shirley Collie in 1963. The connection with Shirley was much more public, and, by its nature, much more well-known. Being of country stock herself, Shirley understood the compulsion to create and the lifestyle that accompanied the profession. They were married until 1971, during which time Willie continued to hone his sound, moving ever closer to the combination of country, folk, and outlaw that would indeed define his legacy. When the marriage finally did dissolve, the years they shared were foundational years that shaped both his personal and professional life. Willie Nelson married for the third time in 1971 to Connie Kepke. During this era, he became one of the faces and voices of the outlaw country movement. Willie and Connie had many years of experiencing ups and downs together. Eventually, the pressures of fame, combined with constant touring and personal differences, contributed to their divorce in 1988 after 17 years. While this marriage also ended in divorce, it was nevertheless a longish phase of companionship and relative stability, with children being reared jointly, anchoring Willie's family life during one of the most turbulent eras in his career. In 1991, Willie Nelson married Annie D'Angelo, a union that started his fourth and present marriage. Unlike the ones before it, this marriage is characterized by incredible stability and has survived well into its third decade. Annie has stood in marriage with Willie through ongoing musical tours and other personal trials that have come their way. This speaks volumes of a mature and more lasting love, where mutual respect and understanding become the core anchor to hold the relationship together. Over the years, she has played the vital role in his life, managing family affairs and providing needed support, so he could also continue with his music and activism in peace and relative balance. Now 92, Willie Nelson brings closure to an extremely specific set of wishes for who he doesn't want to attend his funeral. By his own admission, it's quite an amazingly candid list. An artist known for plain-spoken honesty and a style of humor filled with warmth and a hard dose of truth, Nelson offered no soft words on the subject. While friends, family, and people with genuine respect for his life and music are invited, he has said in interviews that there are some people who simply aren't wanted at his last curtain call. "There are some people I just don't want there," Nelson says, with his signature dry humor-tinged seriousness that has always made fans love him. "I'm not being mean, just being real, and some people don't deserve to be there." He has thus far named names including Garth Brooks, Kid Rock, Jane Fonda, and Ted Turner. The eclectic lineup of musical performers, actors, and media personalities each holds a complicated place both in Nelson's personal views and within his public life. Speaking about Garth Brooks, Nelson alluded to a deeper, long-standing beef based on a perceived inauthenticity. "He's talented, no question," Nelson said, "but he's not my kind of cowboy. He's too slick, too contrived. I don't want that playing at my funeral. I want some folks there who have lived the songs, not just sold them." The comment speaks to Nelson's lifelong commitment to country music's roots, music that, for him, is all about honesty, grit, and emotional veracity, not some commercial sheen. Kid Rock was Nelson's nemesis for reasons more related to personality and public behavior. "He's a good musician for some, I guess," Nelson said with a wry smile. "But he's got an ego the size of Texas. He's loud in all the wrong ways. I don't need that kind of energy at my funeral. It's not a concert. It's the end of my story." For Nelson, a funeral should be a place of reflection and respect, not a stage for attention-seeking or theatrics. The inclusion was a surprise to many, considering the reputation of Jane Fonda as an actress and activist. Nelson made clear that his reasoning was driven by the personal, not the hostile. "She's got her causes and I respect that," he said, "but we've never really seen eye to eye. Politics, Hollywood, fame, they mix in ways that can rub people wrong. I don't want awkwardness at my funeral. It's about love and memories, not old grudges." His comments show a man with bruises, but free of rancor, and one who is willing to acknowledge differences without bitterness, preferring clarity and boundaries to the pretense of harmony. Ted Turner also made the list, for reasons that mixed personality differences with contrasting worldviews. "Ted's a big man, big ideas, big ego," Nelson said with mild amusement. "I'm a small-town guy at heart. We've never connected on the level that matters for something like a funeral." In true Willie Nelson style, he framed these exclusions not as vendettas, but as a matter of principle and personal peace. Through these candid remarks, Willie Nelson once again proves the authenticity that has defined his career for decades. At 92, much like throughout his career, he values honesty, integrity, and personal comfort over the dictates of society or celebrity etiquette. His funeral, as he makes clear, is not some show, some parade of famous faces, but an intimate reflection of a life lived on his own terms. "I want my people there," Nelson concludes, "the ones who love me, the ones I loved, the ones who understand what my music has always been about. That's it. The rest can stay home." In making this wish known, Willie Nelson provides more than a provocative anecdote. He leaves behind one last reminder of who he is, a man directed by clarity and conviction, an unrelenting commitment to being unmistakably himself.